Well, why don't you think so?
Because it's an 80-1 shot, and it's
it ain't going to be 80-1 if it runs in the Preakness. I don't know if it will run in the Preakness. They're basically hedging right now. They're not sure, but
whatever.
I mean, come on. First of all, there's a million horses in the race. There was really no favorite. There wasn't some famous horse that was expected to win and all that other stuff. And when something like this happens, it doesn't happen very often. But when it does happen, I think you got to celebrate it.
Man, I tell you, I went from watching that, which was a total bummer, right into your hockey game where I was surrounded by a bunch of Ranger fans that were just it was Les Miserables. Oh, my God. I tell you. So this was not a good Saturday night of sports for me. It was just not. I was trying to. There's nothing I could do to pick up the Ranger fan on Saturday night. I mean, they started to get into it when the game was tied 4-4. But, of course, that didn't last very long. And then you have what you have in a 2-1 series lead for the Penguins. So this was not and it was cold. It was rainy. It was not a great Saturday night.
It was not a great Saturday night. But, we all, as hockey fans, see games a little bit differently. They happen so fast. There's a million things going on. Everybody kind of sees where things are, and they see it the way they want to see it. Here's what I saw Saturday night. I saw a Ranger team that got blitzed early on, and Igor Shesterkin, who has been great, absolutely has been great, had his worst game of the year at the worst time. Now, he also has faced 140 shots going into this game, and maybe he was a little bit tired. And there were a couple lucky bounces that happen in hockey. And, when you're playing against teams like the Penguins, who are a grizzled veteran team, they're going to find ways to win. They're going to find ways to get the pucks to the net. They're going to be, Sidney Crosby's all over the ice. And even though he may not score, he creates opportunities. So what I saw Saturday night, honestly, the Rangers should have had 10 goals in this game. This Domingue character that you keep, playing down, literally had about 7 or 8
He's a third-string goalie. Who doesn't play down a third-string goalie who's been on 4 different teams, who's 30 years old, and has spent most of his time in the AHL. If you lose to that guy, that is embarrassment.
I could go back and show you where he had at least 7 saves where they were just out of the blue. He just made the save, whether it was the Ranger hitting him somewhere or just barely missing the net or hitting something off of his shoulder. And this is hockey. This is what happens. But until the last 8 minutes of the third period, the Rangers had controlled the game from the beginning of the second period on. I mean, they were all over the Penguins. And he had to make 5 or 6 unbelievable saves, especially from the end of the second period to the middle of the third period. And we had 3 power plays, in the third period where we did not convert. And that's where, CeeLo was talking to Al, that's where Mika Zibanejad needs to be more present. He needs to be scoring goals. And this is the thing that, I've been saying about them for years. I love Mika, Ryan Strome. They're all really good players and are all easy to root for, easy to like. They work hard. Nobody's ever questioned that. The question is, are they truly good enough to get deep into the playoffs and play against some of these hard-nosed teams? And both teams are dealing with injuries. We lost Ryan Lindgren, so that now also puts Justin Braun out there. We also lose, I'm just trying to think of, we lost Barclay Goodrow to a broken foot. So thanks, because I know you're not really watching.
Yeah, I am watching, but I'm not going to be. If you're going for me like this with Ranger hockey, you got to look elsewhere.
And he's one of the more versatile players. But they lost Brian Dumoulin. They have goalie problems. Listen, it's not like they're not dealing with their own issues as well. Quite frankly, I fully expect Shesterkin to bounce back tonight. He had his worst game.
If Louis Domingue outplays Igor Shesterkin, that to me
then you got problems.
Exactly. So that can't happen again. It can be a fluky game at times. You can have a game like that in a series over the course of a 7-game series. That guy cannot outplay the Vezina Trophy. He will be the Vezina Trophy winner.
You can imagine. They're down 4-1. And I'm getting, obviously, a million texts. Guys, it's a 3-goal lead. Just relax. Domingue has made unbelievable saves. And, I felt like Georgiev should have went in. He did go in. Really didn't have to do much in the second period because almost the entire period was played in the Penguin zone. And that's, if you want to neutralize Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, that's what you try to stay in the zone for the your offensive zone against them on defense, and that's where you can score. You can out-forecheck these guys. You can go after these guys. And one thing I will say, there are 3 teams like the Kings last night. They shut out the Edmonton Oilers. You had Boston come back from a 2-0 deficit to tie the series at 2-2. And that's exactly what the Rangers have to do. They have to win tonight. He's
got to be great.
Right.
You got.
But they have to score.
Yeah, I know, but I think but the reason why people looked at the Rangers as one of those sneaky, like, could make a deep run in the playoffs is because of their goalie. Right, yeah, exactly. So coming off getting pulled in an embarrassing fashion in that game, he's got to be great tonight. Well, that's what it comes down to.
The other thing that's bothering me is that our veteran defensemen, the guys that we have because of their grizzled playoff experience, have been taking penalties, and they're going to the box. And that's the other thing that mitigates Panarin. It mitigates, even though Zibanejad and Kreider are great on the penalty kill, and they give themselves even more chances offensively, it seems like, because especially against the first power play unit of the Penguins, who tend to not want to play defense in that situation, there are opportunities there as well. So, I thought for the most part the Rangers significantly outplayed them. And then there was the giveaway by Nemeth, and then that ends up giving a 5-4 lead to the Penguins. You don't look at 7-4 because those 2 were empty net goals. They don't really matter.
Right.
The game was tight. They needed to score that 5th goal. They needed to take the lead. And unfortunately, Domingue was making save after save after save. He made a couple saves on Zibanejad that were just insane. So,
well, he's got. I
don't come in here this morning going, "Oh my God, they overwhelmed us." They didn't do that. I mean, it's Shesterkin had a bad game, couple bad bounces, and then Domingue made, like I told you, 6 or 7 unbelievable saves that kept the game close. So I'm still very confident about who this team is and how they'll react tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Domingue played well, even though he did give up those 3 goals in the second period, consecutively on Saturday night. But I mean, he just that cannot be the way that the Rangers go out. And I don't know what the situation.
They're not going out anyway. They're down 2-1.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm basically saying that this guy you got to be able to beat him. And I still believe that they will. I do believe that. I know it's not me touching the money because I'm not a Rangers fan. I still believe that they will because what I see, Sidney Crosby's still one of the most skilled players I've ever seen in my life. But outside of that, the Rangers are faster. They're younger. I think they're more skilled as a group. And quite frankly, I think they're more physical as well. So, all those things, I think, over the course of a 7-game series, and I think Shesterkin's going to play great tonight. I think that's going to should be the story coming in tomorrow morning is his spectacular bounce-back game and how they won 2-1 or 2-0 or something like that.
Well, I hope you're right, because Jonathan Quick turned back time and he shut out the Oilers. And, they even that series at 2-2, and the Kings really have no business doing that against the Edmonton Oilers and that speed package and offense that they have. Boston came back from a 2-0 deficit. They tied it 2-2. This is the playoffs. This is what goes on. There are frustrating moments. There are exhilarating moments too. I would just say that most of these teams understand what their jobs are and how they have to fight. Now, if you're sitting here from a Penguin standpoint, you're saying, "Oh my God, we won 2, and this is unbelievable. We got our backup goalie. This is fantastic." At the end of the day, they're all sitting on the end of their seat too because they know that he made, like I said, 6 or 7 unbelievable saves that saved that game. The Rangers should have 10 goals in this game on Saturday night, and they didn't because that's hockey, and that's a credit to their backup goalie, and they just got to now forget the other game that they lost in 6 periods and call it and show up. And they'll show up, and I'm not worried about that. I'm not.
So Casey DeSmith, who started the series for the Penguins and, of course, ended up leaving in the second overtime for Louis Domingue, is out for the playoffs with core muscle surgery.
Right.
So Tristan Jarry was back on the ice prior to Game 3, so he was working out a little bit. So it still looks like it's going to be Domingue tonight and maybe Domingue the rest of the series.
Jarry's got a broken foot, so he's kind of like Parker Goudreau, and Tyler Mott skating, and now it's all like they want to give you some good news. Tyler Mott skating, and I doubt we're going to see him in this series. The big question for me is Ryan Lindgren. Is he going to be back? Man, I hope he is. But if not, this is why you go and get Justin Braun at the trade deadline. This is why you trade for as many guys as you did, is so you could have depth because everybody knows that all these teams deal with injuries in these playoffs because of the way that they're played. You know that.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that. So this is why you have depth. This is why you make trades, and you just hope that the puck doesn't find the guys who have struggled. And the big struggle, really, for me on defense anyway, are the giveaways. And Braden Schneider, unfortunately, I love this kid. This kid is going to really be good. And he just made a boneheaded play where he was trying to leave the zone and he stopped and he tried to turn back and the puck was stolen. Next thing you know, it's in the back of the net. Instead of just getting it out of his zone and moving it forward, he tried to be an Adam Fox. He's not Adam Fox yet. He's got to get. He needs a little time. He's got to remember that this is a playoff series and he's against experienced playoff players. So you got to be smart. You got to keep things moving forward and try not to stop and be too cute. And he got too cute. Next thing you know, the puck is in the back of the net. So that's a young defenseman in a very big situation making a critical error. And that's unfortunate, but that's going to happen in these games. And you got to live and you got to learn, and hopefully he's better the next time out. And that's really part of the growing. By the way, our young players are playing really well. I mean, they are playing good. Braden Schneider's one of those guys that is playing really good. It's the older guys that need to now step up and show their mettle, and I think they will tonight.
So I looked at FanDuel Sportsbook when the Rangers were down 4-1, and I wanted to see how big of an underdog they were with the live line, the in-game line.
Right, and?
It was plus 650.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought would actually be more. I was looking for like a plus 800, something like that. So it was plus 650, which is still, 100 to win 650 is still a nice little chunk. But I didn't do it, and I was so pissed at myself when they tied the game because I was like, look at all the action I would have gotten here. This would have been awesome.
Yeah, you know what was weird? I was sitting there, and I'm obviously disgusted at the way the thing started, but I also know that there were some weird bounces, and Igor had one he put in himself. It's just, you could see he was off, and I don't know why he was off. Maybe he was off because of all the shots that he had to stop in the previous two games. He did not practice the day of game. Gorgiev went out there for the morning skate. Igor didn't do that, and that could have had something to do with it. I don't know. But I think Gallant did the right thing by taking him out after the first period, and then kind of like what that does, and you know this from all of your years in Pittsburgh, take the goalie out. Now all of a sudden your team responds.
It's amazing how that works.
It is crazy, and most of the time it does work, and that's also what's going on. For Pittsburgh, they know that they have to defend better, but man, they cannot handle the forecheck. When the Rangers are in their face and forechecking and all over them, they can't handle it.
It's like the first period of game one. It's totally overwhelming. You're right. What do you think of the first Penguins goal that was the guy comes out, goes no goal, and goes back, and all of a sudden it's a goal?
Of course. I don't even know why they even waste their time on replays when it comes to Rangers. Whatever goes against the Rangers, just automatically, make that call because that's the way it's going to go. It's just unbelievable. There was a goal the other night. I want to say it was the Stars game. Easily could have been goalie interference, but no, the goal was let to stand.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how these things, and obviously I am now seeing this through Ranger colored glasses.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
You know where I'm coming from.
Well, as you should.
And I'm just if that were a Ranger a goal, it almost happened on the Cop goal because Letang goes flying.
He was obviously,
and he was going to grab the net and take it off.
Of course.
And I'm like, now,
and he did kind of.
He did, and we all know that there's no replay on that, but because it was so obvious.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, now that's a goal. Don't even go to replay.
No,
I don't even want to hear it.
He was pointing right away.
He was, and thank God he did. But I'm just used to this kind of crap. This is like, if you're a Ranger fan, you just got to kind of grin and bear it. We know that we got to deal with a lot of things, and in order for us to win a Stanley Cup, we got to overcome a lot of mountains in so many different areas.
Oh, man, I love it.
We know that, but it's great. This is what playoff hockey is about. You're down 2-1, you're on the road, go get the win. Bring it home. You got home ice advantage now in a 3-game series.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.